Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing, coming to you with episode 2 of Mixed Media 101. I do apologize that it has taken me so long to get to episode 2. It's been a crazy couple of months. I posted the first one, I believe, was in September, kind of towards the end of the month. So I thought I would put this as a priority and get the second episode out. So today we're going to be working with layers. So we've got some tissue paper napkin, some golden fluid acrylic, a couple of different kinds of Crackle medium, and we're going to do a couple of different things with them just to show you what the difference is between the two, as well as what the difference is between the golden fluid acrylic and the just craft acrylic as far as like glazing and things like that. So I've got my green gold from Golden Fluid Acrylics, Deco Art Americana in Hauser Medium Green. This is one of my favorite greens. And then I've got my raw umber. I'll have to grab my glazing medium also when we get to that point. So I've got my Liquitex Fluid Matte Medium and my gesso in case we want to use that. And then we've got, again, the two different kinds of Crackle. So this is a clear rock candy, so it crackles, but it's clear and transparent. This one is white, so I want to show you the difference there. I've got some tools, just a brush and a couple of palette knives to work with. And then I pulled this transparent yellow iron oxide out. This is a high flow transparent acrylic, as you can see by the black stripes. That's how transparent it is, that you can't see the yellow on top of the black. That's an indicator that this is a really good paint. I've got a couple of stamps I thought we'd use. This napkin already has that kind of faux crackle look, but I thought we would accentuate it with the stamp potentially. So I'm going to reach behind me though and grab that glazing medium just so that I don't get turned around. It looks like it got buried. Hold on. I was super prepared, I thought. And I do apologize again in advance if I'm very crackly. I am feeling much better. Yesterday was pretty rough. It was Friday, Veterans Day. So I slept most of the day, and today I'm feeling a lot better. So still doing a lot of resting, but I'm going to go ahead and throw a video together here for you. Although by the time you see this, I will probably be 100% back to health. So, and I'm just using some Bristol paper. This is from Strathmore, and it is, let's see what if it shows the weight. It's 100-pound Bristol paper, so it's really great for mixed media techniques if you want to kind of just play around. And so I've got one sheet out here that I thought we would use for our project. I'm going to grab another one as a second thought here so that we can do the other techniques. So let me just do that really quick. Grab another page. So what I thought we would do is start with applying some of the Crackle mediums on this page so that you guys can see the difference between the two, as well as so you can see that. So I'll probably do 2 of each kind. So we'll test the golden fluid acrylic glaze here, and then over here we'll use the craft acrylic. So and that'll make more sense as we get going here. So let me get that stuff out. I'm not going to prep this page just because I'm not going to do anything with it. It's just for sample, just for showing you the technique. If you are using a piece of paper like this and applying a lot of mixed media, you might want to gesso it either with some clear gesso or white gesso, totally up to you. I actually should probably try and grab another medium here. I'm not sure what else there is to show you, but if I think of anything new, I will bring it out, but I'm trying to keep this fairly simple. So the reason why I'm going to start with this is because I want this to have time to dry, and I apologize for that. In and out of the focus, it doesn't like the white of the paper, so just kind of moving off to the side because this is really oh goodness. Oh, this is the glaze. Oh, there we do have 3. So we're going to try all. I forgot. This is the Crackle glaze from Deco Art Media, and it is clear and transparent. So let me grab the white as well. Completely forgot about that. So I need to try to get this open though. It's pretty tight. Come on. I don't know if we're going to get this open. I will be right back with you guys. Okay, I got it unstuck. So there's a nifty trick. If you put a little bit of Vaseline around the rim of the lid, it will keep it from sticking. But I just ran it under hot water, and that worked out just fine as well. Just takes a little bit of time. So we've got this. So it, let me just show you the difference. I think sight-wise, it looks about the same. This has got a little bit more of a kind of a yellowish color, but I think it's going to do the same thing. Let me grab a brush so that I can just stir the bottom of each of these just to make sure that they're nice and mixed up. And then we'll get on with the fun. But I really wanted to show you that craft acrylic paint will also work for a lot of the techniques that I do on camera. I just have my favored mediums in terms of like the golden fluid acrylics versus an whoops, just dropped the end of that brush on my clothes. Oh goodness, good thing I'm wearing an apron. If you can't get, oh my goodness, I got it all over my shirt. It went around my apron. Oh well. Okay, enough of that. Anyway, I want to show you that you can use craft acrylics for a lot of the techniques that I do. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to open up the Crackle paint. You guys have seen this before. It is white. So I'm going to do 3 columns. I'm going to do 2 of each kind of medium. So let's start with the white Crackle, and I'm just going to kind of put it on here like this and have areas that are thicker and areas that are thinner so that you get the different variations of cracks. So there we go. That should be good. Go down here and do another swath. Goodness. And in case I was not super clear, we're going to do kind of a collage, not a collage board, but we're going to put this on one of these pieces of paper, and then we're going to do some texture on top, and we're going to do a bunch of beautiful things with this, which then I can probably cut up into tags. We'll see. So now we're going to use the rock candy one. You do want to make sure that you stir these really good before you use them because things settle to the bottom. So I'm going to put this one over here on this side. And I'm going to hold it up so you can see texturally what it looks like. This rock candy one has got a different consistency to it, but it is really, really fantastic when it is dry and you apply some color to it. So a little bit more, Cara-Renee. There we go. So we are done with that. I'm going to go ahead and just clean off my palette knife. You want to make sure you get mediums off of these, otherwise they can affect your future projects. So there's that. So let me hold it up for you. And we're going to wait for this to crackle naturally. So again, once it starts to crack, you can heat set it, but you don't want to be in too much of a hurry for that. So I'm going to set that aside. There we go. So let's go ahead and get our other piece of paper over here. And again, I'm not going to prep the base because we're just going to collage this on. I do need to grab some clear tape to get this napkin separated. And look at this. I love this napkin because it is continuous. Often when you get these, that you've got an image in each of the quadrants of the napkin, and you can see that this is a full spread that is not repeated in terms of it's not blocked out. So I really, really like that. So I'm going to go ahead and, oops, ran out of that one in a hurry. Good thing I've got another. So I'm going to go ahead and separate from the back. Usually you can separate the first couple layers pretty easily, like so. I'm going to hold on to this. I usually throw them away just because I just have so much stuff, but I'm going to try to do that faux faux rice paper that is going around on YouTube. I have not yet tried that. I think this is all the way already down to the 1 ply, but I'm going to just test it just to be sure by putting a little bit of tape on the corner and then pulling. And so it tore my napkin, so that means there's nothing else there. So, but the tape trick works pretty good. I am thinking about putting some script behind this on second thought. So let me grab from my drawer here and see what I've got for some backing paper here, because it's awesome to have those papers shining through your image. So I'm just going to grab a bunch of stuff here from my stash, and I'm just going to use these because they're here. These are from an old kids book. So I'm just going to put them on just to create some textural interest. I think I'm going to tear off the image though, just because I can use that for something else instead of it being kind of wasted as a layer here. So let me do that with a couple of these. That one should be okay. Some of them will leave whole because their picture goes down into the script. Whoops, don't set it on there, Cara-Renee. Okay, here we go. Gotta. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and just put a bunch of matte, this is fluid matte medium. And the fluid matte medium works really well for this process because it is thin. So you could use something else like matte gel, but I find that the matte gel, when you go over it, you can actually compromise your image. So I'm just putting this on here as a layer, just doing it about halfway down. So I'm going to put this up here in this corner. And it's just because I want that script underneath. If we don't get right to the edge, it's all right. And I'll go over that with another layer here in a moment. So let's go ahead and put this here. I didn't get any matte medium down there yet. I'm just going to go ahead and collage this and speed it up, and then I will come back to you in a moment. Okay, so this is the last piece for the base. I'm just going to apply a layer of matte medium on top of the whole thing, like so. I love how the matte medium works on the vintage pages. It sometimes will kind of change the color a little bit, which is interesting. Almost like the wetness of it affects the base color. So there we go. And we don't really have to wait for things to dry here, although I'm getting matte medium everywhere. So I'm gonna grab something here to wipe this up because it's getting messy on my mat here. Hold on. Just like so. There we go. So let's go ahead and get our napkin in place. I'm gonna go ahead and again, I'm going to put a little bit more on here because I want to make sure that we've got enough to hold our napkin on, because the more matte medium you use, this fluid matte medium rather, the more invisible your tissue paper or napkin will be on the surface. Like so. And let's just bring that piece back. Obviously it is bigger than our paper, but I'm not going to mess around. I'm just going to put it down like that. And it looks like we've got some that we lost up there because I didn't get it up high enough, but that is okay. We are going to get wrinkles. Actually, let's pull in that scrap. Where did I put it? the one that tore. I think I threw it in the garbage. Let me grab it and see if I can use that. What did you do with it, Cara-Renee? It's not in the garbage, so let me just peek here. See what I did with it. Huh, interesting. It is not here. So, let me just grab a little piece of the white. Hold on, guys. I'm so sorry. It's got multiple layers here, so I do need to separate it. There we go. We'll just get a little piece of this white just to cover up that area a little bit. We don't want that to be so stark, if you know what I'm talking about there. And then just do that. It's going to disappear anyway, so. Except I think I just exposed it, so let's go with another piece. Yikesy. Yikesies. Be a little gentler. So when you do this process, you want to be pretty gentle with your napkin or tissue paper, whatever that specialty paper is that you're working with. So we're going to put a layer of matte medium over all of this. We've already have some pretty natural wrinkles that I think are lovely. I'm just going to get a good coat everywhere. It doesn't have to be too heavy, just enough to seal it. And I'm going to show you a close-up because I love how this script peeks through and bits of the images too. Really pretty. Oops, we got another tear there. I'm not being very gentle here, guys. So we will rectify that by putting some texture over that when we get to that point, as well, probably up in that corner. So again, my advice is to slow down and be a little more gentle than I am being. So let's just see if we can get this up off the table. It's kind of glued down now. Oh, come on. Ah! Goodness gracious, Cara-Renee. It's all right. It's all right. So there we go. So that is, and you can see the wrinkles. That's going to be really, really epic. So I'm going to dry this really quick and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so this is pretty much dry. I'm just going to go ahead and lift it up because I neglected to show you what I wanted to show you, which was how some of those images are showing up. Look at that little baby boy laying down. And then we've got another group of kids here that you can just kind of see a little bit in the background. Creates a lot of mystery, I think. Off camera, I pulled another napkin from my stash and I added it up there, and also where, excuse me, where am I? Where I had torn it here. So, oh, it looks like I missed a part there, but that's okay. That'll all get covered over. So it is dry enough to go ahead and move on to our next step. On this one, I am going to use my Deco Art, no, not my Crackle paint. I'm going to use the clear kind. So I'm going to use the, let's use the Crackle glaze from the Deco Art Media. Just again to show you kind of the layers. So you've got your base, we've got some collaging going on underneath, we have a napkin, and now we're going to go ahead and, oh, you know what we should probably do is do some stamping first. So I think we'll do some stamping first before we move on. Pardon me on that. I'm just going to grab my cart here. I figured out now that my supply cart that sits over here that I just grab when I'm getting ready to film, that holds my inks and my scissors and all of that stuff, I actually was able to fit my sewing machine on top of it and still get underneath the sewing machine to pull the stuff out, which is really, really cool. So I am using Ranger Distress Archival ink in Vintage Photo. This is archival, meaning it will not run when we are doing or when we're doing some stenciling here, or not stenciling, stamping. You could also come in with stencils and do a bunch of stuff with that. I'm not going to go that elaborate on this project, but you could come in with your stencil and some gesso or modeling paste and do some texturizing that way as well, but that's not the focus of this video. So I'm going to go ahead and I've got my ink pad out here, and I'm going to go in with a little bit of script as well. This is one of my favorite Paris script stamps. So I'm off camera here to my stamp pad, and I'm going to go ahead and ink it up, and then I'm just going to go around and randomly stamp. I don't want to do too much because I don't want it to compete with the script that's already on the board. Just a little bit of it's a lighter application because I'm using the vintage photo. I'll show you what I'm getting, what results I'm getting here in a second. So I'm not going to use my Crackle stamp yet. I'm going to go ahead and do the layer of Crackle glaze first, and then I'll probably have to step away and let all of this dry before we can continue on, because our Crackle experiment over here is not really cracking yet. So we want to be very patient with that. So I will probably just take a little break before we move on. So I'm going to go ahead and get my spatula here, my palette knife, and I'm just going to go here and there, and I'm just going to apply this Crackle glaze. So again, this is clear, transparent versus my normal white. So depending on what you like, that would help you to determine kind of what products you would like to invest in. And I'm so sorry, that's my phone. I'm going to stop for a moment. Okay. my whole drama over my phone being in the studio is frustrating, and I can't silence it. It just goes, and by the time I get up and try to do something with it, it's already done. So again, the difficulty with the white Crackle paint is that it's white, and you have to kind of colorize it or push it back with some other layers if you don't like that white. So in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and just use the glaze and just see what kind of a result we get. So I'm not putting it everywhere, even though it probably looks like it from your viewpoint. I'm not. I'm going heavier in some areas than others, just to create some variation. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take a break here and let this dry naturally, and I'll be back with you when it's dry. Okay, we are back. This is, for the most part, dry. I'm just going to show you what this looks like up close. So I did put a piece of parchment paper and I trimmed off the edges. So let me find a place that has some Crackle. So there we're seeing some Crackle. And it's going to go up. The brown is not my Crackle, that's part of the napkin. Let's see if we can find more here. It's a little bit hard to see because it's transparent. We used the Deco Art Crackle glaze. There we see some here. There we go. So this is ready for some glazing or some wash, depending on what you use. So again, the difference between a glaze and a wash is taking a paint and watering it down and making it more liquid and then putting it over the surface. With a wash, though, you will end up with that dark stain in these places that you might want to retain some lightness. The glaze allows you to pull, for the most part, pull that color off of anywhere that you don't want that darker color. So I will show you that here in just a second, but I wanted to show you our other examples here and show you what we got. So this is the Deco Art Crackle paint. That's the one that is white. So we got some great cracks, and then we've got another one here. So we're going to again do two different experiments there. So this is the DecoArt Crackle Glaze, which is the same thing I used on the napkin piece. We've got areas that didn't really crackle, and that's because it was super thick, but I like that too because it kind of puts, it's almost like a glossy accent kind of look, in that it creates kind of this clear barrier, kind of a shiny surface there. So this one we got a little bit more crack. It's hard to see because of the white, and then this is the Distress Crackle paint, that rock hard candy one. So it is very interesting. I'm hoping that this will focus a little bit better. We've got some bigger splotches there. We've got some crackle here and some crackle here. That's going to show up more when we get some color on it, and then here's the second bit of that. So let's go ahead and start with this, and then we can come back to the our main project here in a moment. So I'm going to get my golden fluid acrylic and raw umber, and again I'm going to do I'm going to show you what each of these looks like with a glaze. So this is the DecoArt the golden fluid acrylic and raw umber, as I mentioned, and my glazing medium. So I'm just going to put a little bit out. It is 1 part paint to 2 parts of glazing medium, approximately. It's not a science by any means. So there we go. And I need to clean this brush off because I need to replace my brushes because a lot of them have just been, they're 4 years old and they're just not reviving anymore very well. So I'm going to come over here to, well, let's start with this one since it's on this side. And I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick glaze on this. I'm hoping that this will help you guys to envision what the product does when it's outside of a project. So there is that. So we're going to go ahead and take our wipe and we're going to wipe it off. So this is a little bit hard to tell because for starters our base paper is not prepped, so that's just absorbing in. I don't care about that. I just want you to see the cracks. And so what we're seeing here in between these bigger cracks is the white of the paper. If this were on a colored surface, you'd be seeing the colors through here because this is transparent. So that is that one. Let's go ahead and do the next one. This is the Crackle Glaze from DecoArt. I probably should have prepped this base fully as though I were doing a project with it because we would get a different result. And we wouldn't get this kind of leftover color on the page, but that's okay. So this was really interesting, as you can see there. It's really cracked around the edges, but not so much in the middle, and that is probably because of the thickness of the application that I used. So if you went thinner, you would get smaller cracks. And if you would broke up that bit and, you know, kind of cut into it so it was all going different directions, kind of like I did here, where you can see with the Crackle paint that we got ridges and valleys there in the Crackle itself. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply a bit there. And then we're going to go ahead and wipe that off with another baby wipe. And by far the Crackle paint is my favorite. I'm just going to tell you right now. So that is our Crackle paint. So you see how it looks like cracked paint, and we've got that brown dark color in all of those crevices, which is really, really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up here so that we can try the fluid acrylic that we taught, or not the fluid acrylic, excuse me, the cracked acrylic that I wanted to show you, that will also work for a glaze. So just trying to clean this mess up so I don't put my arm in it. We have another place to lay some out and get rid of these extra paper towels. And we're going to go ahead and get this is the Hauser medium green. It's one of my favorite craft acrylics for green paint. It's really a natural color looking color. So we're going to put that down, and that was a little bit more than I needed, and we're going to do the same. So we're going to add our glazing medium, and I'm going to add a little bit more glaze because this is a thicker paint, the craft acrylic here that I'm using. So I'm going to try to find another brush that's not rock hard. I know I usually clean these in the microwave. I put some vinegar in the bottom of a measuring cup, a glass measuring cup, and then I heat that in the microwave, and then I soak my brushes in it, and it revives them pretty well. I have not done that in a while. So here's our green. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go over this, and I'm going to let that sit for a minute and then come back to wipe it off here after we get it on all pieces. You do have a little bit of time. It's not like you have to be, you know, super fast at it. When I was learning, I always wanted to pull it off super fast because I was afraid it was going to ruin what I was doing. But I just want to show you that you can get the same effect using any color of even craft acrylics, which, you know, you can get them those for $1, you know, super affordable. So let's get another baby wipe. And we're going to start from right to left. Sorry, I've got all this mixture. I'm going to go ahead and wipe this up because I'm not going to be able to keep you in camera. So that was way more paint than I needed. But I have a bad habit of that, unfortunately. So there we go. So we're going to go ahead and wipe this off. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and wipe this one off. Getting kind of the same thing going on here in terms of just a large swath of that did not crackle, which is okay. So as you can see here, we can still see the crackles really, really well. It's a lighter green, so it's not as pronounced as the brown that we see above. So it kind of depends on what your look you're going for. So if you wanted to have your crackles have kind of a blue undertone or even pink or something, or something in the red family, you could totally play around with that. And this, again, I think that probably what I did is I just put too much in one spot and didn't break up the application of that, which is why we've got this large area that is not crackled. This one did really, really well. I like this product because you get really big cracks and then you get the tiny cracks too. And that is, again, is dependent on how much you use, so, or how thick you lay it down. So we're going to bring our project back over and we're going to go ahead and do a raw umber glaze. Actually, pardon my cough, you guys. Actually, let's go ahead and do the stamping first. I want to stamp with black archival ink because I want to bring out the black print. So I'm just digging here in my cart here for my black. And I've got my, yeah, that's all I need. I'm just like way off camera here. Sorry, guys. It's hard when I'm working with something a little bit bigger like I am here. So I'm going to go in with the Crackle stamp, and I apologize, you guys, I cannot find this stamp anymore. I think you can get a similar effect. I did not clean it well the last time, so I've got some medium in there, but that's okay. I just use it for mixed media, so it's not a big deal. So I'm just inking this up all over, and then I'm just going to apply it again here and there around the spread, just to kind of accentuate those black crack or those brown cracks that we had in the napkin design, just to kind of give a little bit more interest here. We could actually come in with more script too if we wanted to, but this is another one of my favorite stamps. Well, very well used. Again, not putting it everywhere. You don't want to overwhelm the project with having everything be covered over really thick. But I'm excited to show you what this actually looks like because this Crackle stamp is really, really cool. I'm not getting much of an impression for some reason in some places. This is very pretty. Just want to make sure I get a little bit of it everywhere so we don't have any places that are completely absent of it. And then, because I'm using an archival ink, I can go right over this now with a glaze because archival ink is immediately permanent. So let me just show you what that looks like. So these are our black cracks from the stamp. Look at that. Really, really, really cool. I love that. I love it. Okay, So let's go ahead and do a glaze on this. And I'm going to go ahead and get a piece of parchment because I want to keep this in frame and I don't have any room on my glass mat here to do that. So I'm just going to pull out a little piece of parchment and put it over here. So you're not going to see my paint at this time. I'll go a little bit this way. Okay, so I'm going to do a raw umber glaze because that's the look that I want on this piece. So I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of raw umber, a little bit more than before because I'm covering a bigger area. And then my glazing medium, and again, this is from Golden. One of my favorite products. Love it, love it. And I'm going to see if I can get one of these brushes out to use it again in my water. Then we are going to go ahead and do this glaze. Just moving everywhere, all over my table. Here we go. And this is really going to help you see the cracks that we've got going on with that Crackle glaze. And obviously I'm working very big. You don't have to. You could do something really simple. You could do a little bit of texturizing just on a journal card or a tag. You don't have to go big. So just, it's very versatile. Having to hold on to this little piece of parchment paper so everything doesn't slide off. And I've got a glass mat under my project here, so it just wipes up just like magic. So I can pretty much get anything on it and it comes off. I just use a little bit of rubbing alcohol to clean my surfaces in here. There we go. A little bit more and then we'll go ahead and wipe it off. And probably off camera I will cut these into journal cards and tags. We'll see. I may scan it, not because I'm going to reproduce it, but because I can scan it on a piece of paper and have it be a thinner piece of paper. This is going to be pretty bulky in a journal. So let's go ahead and wipe. So again, I'm just taking the baby wipe and I'm just wiping everywhere. And it's just going to create this grunge look all over this surface. Toss those. I go through a lot of baby wipes in the studio. So I just get mine at Costco, so it keeps me in them pretty good. There we go. So there is our result. We've got some wrinkles here, so that's catching a line of wrinkle is catching some of that color. So this is what it looks like up close with a glaze. So you can see how, let me see if I can find some of the crackle, the actual crackle. Let me look close here. I think right in this area we've got some crackle. Hopefully you guys can see that. You'll be able to see it in the close-up photos, guys. It's kind of hard on camera because the camera does, there we go. So you can see this crackle in here. And that glaze, that brown glaze goes down into those cracks and just creates this beautiful effect. Come on, focus. There we go. We've got more in here. Really, really beautiful. So that is our project for today. So we were able to experiment with 3 different mediums, all Crackle mediums, but I wanted to show you what is different and what is the same about them. Obviously, what is the same is you get the Crackle. Application of that as far as thickness determines how your cracks turn out. I will tell you that the DecoArt Crackle paint is more forgiving in that it's not as, it's just, I don't know what is it, the way, it must be the composition of it, but it doesn't ever do this to me. So it's just probably because it's a different composition. And then you can see here we didn't get a whole lot of cracks, but we got a little bit. So this would be beautiful for like snow or glass or something like that if you wanted to introduce that. And then again, and this would have looked different around. It wouldn't be so dull if we had prepped this piece of paper with some gesso or matte medium before we did this process. But for the sake of the demonstration, this is what I wanted to show you. So that's what we've got today, guys. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I hope that you are doing well, and I will talk to you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.